Greetings from Cabo. Imagine you had your bills down to $220 per month, but you were making 80 to 100K per year. Yeah. Would that change your life? I'll go over the numbers in a minute on how to get the bills that low. A lot of the motivation for the retire by 30 series in America or 7 to 10 years comes down to the fact that I've seen a lot of good, hardworking people basically work themselves into an early grave. And what do they do it all for? Well, status clout. You know, my car is better than your car. My emblem says that I'm special, and I see how much more it's worth. It's special because a bunch of people on a talking box told you it was special. A bunch of people that were paid actors, basically, like your entertainment industry, all that crap. They drive these things around, they do these things, and they tell you, I'm better than you because look at this version of this. It's special. It's limited. Who cares? It's just a people mover. And by the way, I'm not the first to come up with some of this. Aaron Clare's talked about this over the years, but I fought this type of stuff for years when I just, like for instance, I lived in the woods for 4 years. My rent was $100 a month. I got so much shit. You live in a tent in the woods. I had a yurt, a wood stove, and I'm like, yeah, you pay $1,000 a month for rent. I pay $100. But remember, you're the winner because you rent that apartment. And it gets down to the stupidity of people and also the pecking order crap. Like how much of what we're doing is really just to be part of the cool kids crowd. And you see this over and over again where like cars, clothes, lifestyle. Like I'll see people that have like a perfectly beautiful house. It's a nice house. It's comfortable. Oh, but we gotta redo the kitchen. The tile doesn't look new enough. And hey, I'm not picking on anybody with this. Or we need to get the new couches. Like the couches are fine. And here's another pro tip. Don't get nice new furniture when you still have kids. They will destroy it. That's just what kids do. They can't help it. They're kids. Especially when they're teenagers. But the giggle of it is that you look at all the money, the time, and the cosmic wasting. And I remember seeing guys that worked pretty much their whole lives. They were good, decent working class guys. They weren't slouches by any point of the imagination. They were good people. But at the end of the day, here's what ended up happening. You know, one divorce, two divorce, or, you know, some sort of tragedy happens, and then, you know, because they were leveraged in debt. This is exactly what crushed the unions and the people that worked unions, was the debt, the money, the loads of it. And when the factory shuts down, they lose their house or they lose their job, and then suddenly their wife decides they need to find a man. Like, till death do us part suddenly becomes, you ain't got no money, hit the road, Jack. And all the hard work they did was basically for nothing. Maybe they raised some kids, and hopefully their kids turned out all right. But you'd see some of these guys, and maybe they had a house, maybe they had a few things. But some of them would be like living in a nice, travel trailer in a trailer park, and they had their pickup truck or their boat, a few hunting rifles for that season, and they watched their sports ball, and they were just like, well, this is life, whatever, and they're actually laid back and chill, actually content. Yeah, sure, they don't have everything, but they don't need everything, and they're happy. And you'll see this in van life, and you'll see other groups that are like this. Well, my attitude is, if the sum total of a lot of work is basically just plastic crap, and by the way, I know this because I used to be a garbage man, rear end loader, trash man, jumped out of the truck 300 to 500 times a day, run to the back, either hook up the dumpster or dump the cans. Most of your entire life is either going into a dumpster or going into a car crusher. Whatever the vultures that are your family members can pick from your bones after you drop dead, that's just kind of a blessing. But then everything else is just garbage. So all the fashion trends and all the other crap, that's literally just the TV telling you how to think, how to exist, how to be. And you see this, it starts out in even elementary sometimes, but usually middle school, what clothes are you wearing, what games do you play, like what are you doing? I mean, if you don't have this, you're a total loser, And then this goes to high school, like you ride the bus, I have a car, like stupid comparison shit like that. And sex also fits into it too. How much of what guys do is literally just, trying to get pussy, peacocking. And women are like, guys are so dumb. Yeah, what ladies, what do you do when you get the money? I'm sorry, yes, guys are fucking morons. But ladies, sometimes you're even worse. Well, I gotta get these new shoes, and I gotta have this hairstyle. I gotta look better than all my friends. This like little arms race of which chick can waste the most money on the stupidest shit. But and then you see this goes on right into adulthood. The cars, the clothes. My car with its special emblem is better than yours. Our neighborhood, we live in such and such. Whatever, it's just a house, it's just a place you sleep. I mean, look, as long as the neighborhood's safe, what the fuck does it matter? Like, really? What does it matter? And it's just comparative tile crap. And most of your life is bought and sold on that. And don't fool yourself into thinking, I'm actually doing a lot of this. Yes, you are. You're purchasing these things and doing it, but how much of what you're doing was literally on this like little rectangle you're holding in your hand, or the talking box in the big room? How much of it? How much of it is something you were told was cool? Like, I'll give you an example. I'm not trying to trash on anybody that owns one, but an Escalade is a great example of that. Some rap star or somebody drives around in an Escalade, and it shows, they're like, I've got this. This is a sign that I've made it. No, it's a sign that you paid that much for it. But dumb people will think that means something. My house is in this neighborhood. Dumb people will think that means something. So you paid $700,000 to $1 million for what I can get for $50,000. Well, your house isn't worth as much. Yeah, but you gave up the majority of your life to pay for it. Back to the whole thing. I rented for $100 a month in the woods. Had a yurt, had a wood stove, was perfectly comfortable. Other people were paying $1,000. Who's winning? Just saying. So you get down to that line of thinking, and then you get even into the commuting. So because you want to save some money on the house, or you have a nice little community that's about an hour commute from your place, you end up spending, basically, what? Let's say you're making $25 an hour. So times 2 hours is $50 a day, times 5 days a week is $250. Take out 2 weeks for vacation. We're talking, what, $12,500? Then add in the car payment. Then add in the cost of fuel and insurance for your nice new car. Who's winning there? You're literally either not getting paid that much to go to work, or you're paying that much more for your mortgage. As where a guy like me, your rent to society is fucking huge. My rent to society, like my Western Holdings over there in Western Washington, that's retirement property basically for me. HOA, and what does that HOA do for me? There's a private well where I can get 55 gallons of water a day. I probably only need, 2 or 3 gallons. I could literally do rainwater collection, use compost and toilets. I don't have to do all this extra infrastructure bullshit. But we also have a private beach / mud flat next to the river, so there's naturally occurring oysters. They plant clams and gooey ducks. And if you don't know what a gooey duck is, it's a clam the size of a football that has a neck that's the size of an elephant trunk. They're goddamn huge and they're tasty. But I got access to all this for $200 a year for the HOA. My taxes on that property together with the HOA is only like $703, I think. So we're talking, what, $59 a month for my rent to society. So add in the whole $220 on that. We're talking around, what, under $300 per month to get by. Be doing just fine. Like, I got my books that I read, got my garden that I work in, got the free TV over the airwaves. Doing just fine, content, and happy. Who's winning? Now, I have no illusions that I'm going to save the fucking world. Not that naive. But if a few people look at the world and say, I could live off less and have more of my life to enjoy, then that's a good thing. As for the rest of them, it's just like the horse to water thing, but my version is, you can lead a fool to knowledge, but you can't make a dumb motherfucker think. So, yeah, your fashionable chains of slavery, you can keep those if you want to. That's your life. You do you. But for those of us who actually want to enjoy life, you retire younger, like before you're 30, like by 30, let's just go by 30. What would you do with the rest of your life? Would you, go out and maybe you work out a lot, become a partial-time gym rat. Maybe you take up a job that you actually love doing. Maybe you volunteer time. Maybe you hike all over the country. And here's a wild thought, because you weren't working, like whether it's staring at a screen, getting, carpal tunnel in your hands and screwed up eyes, or, like breathing in chemicals at a shipyard, or, working some sort of job that slowly destroys you, you'd be healthier, happier. Yeah. You'd actually probably live longer. I call it the Bob Barker theory. Why did Bob live so long? Well, he probably wasn't working in a shipyard, breathing in a bunch of toxic crap. Just wild thought there. So what I'm getting at with that is that, to me, the point of life is not to be a good, productive person with a bunch of status things that don't matter. It's to actually live your life and enjoy it. And the less you need to get by, the more self-sufficiency you have on your joy and happiness, the more your work is worth, and therefore the less you have to work. Anyways, that was a lot of the motivation for the Retire by 30 series, because remember, your life is worth more than a pile of golds, and take it easy.